What is a volcano? Volcanoes are openings or vents where lava, tephra, small rocks, and steam erupt onto the Earth's surface. Many mountains form by faulting, uplift, and erosion of the Earth's crust. Volcanic terrain, however, is built by the slow accumulation of erupted lava. The vent may be visible as a small bowl-shaped depression at the summit of a cone or shield-shaped mountain. Through a series of cracks within and beneath the volcano, the vent connects to one or more linked storage areas of molten or partially molten rock, magma. These connections to fresh magma allows the volcano to erupt over and over again in the same location. In this way, the volcano grows ever larger until it is no longer stable. Pieces of the volcano collapse as rockfalls or as landslides. How do volcanoes erupt? First, there is partial melting of mantle, the origin of magma. Then magma rises and may stall and accumulate when reaching crust, underplating. Magma rises from below into storage region. Some crystals forms and magma can stagnate. Volcanic eruption of tephra, rock, gas, ash, or lava flows. Volcanic gases mix with the atmosphere. Molten rock below the surface of the Earth that rises in volcanic vents is known as magma, but after it erupts from a volcano it is called lava. Magma is made of molten rock, crystals and dissolved gas. Imagine an unopened bottle of soda with grains of sand inside. The molten rock is made of the chemical oxygen, silicon, aluminium, iron, magnesium, calcium, sodium, potassium, titanium and manganese. After cooling, liquid magma may form crystals of various minerals until it becomes completely solid and form an igneous or magnetic rock. Originating many tens of miles beneath the ground, magma is lighter than surrounding solid rock. It is driven toward Earth's surface by buoyancy, it is lighter than the surrounding rock, and by pressure form gas within it. Magma forces its way upward and may ultimately break through weak areas in Earth's crust. If so, an eruption begins. Magma can be erupted in a variety of ways. Sometimes molten rock simply pours from the vent as liquid lava flows. It can also shoot violently in the air as dense clouds of rock, shards, tephra and gas. Larger fragments fall back around the vent, and clouds of tephra may move down the slope of the volcano under the force of gravity. Ash, tiny pieces of tephra the thickness of a strand of hair, may be carried by the wind only to fall to the ground many miles away. The smallest ash particles may be erupted miles into the sky and carried many times around the world by winds high in the atmosphere before they fall to the ground. How many volcanoes are there? USGS scientists monitor over 160 active and potentially active volcanoes in the United States. Some of these are erupting now and others could erupt at same point in the future. Most of these volcanoes are located in Alaska, a state where eruptions occur almost every year. The rest of volcanoes are located throughout the American West and in Hawaii. Kilauea volcano on islands Hawaii is one of the most active volcanoes on Earth. It has been erupting almost non-stop since 1983. There are about 1,350 potentially active volcanoes worldwide, not counting the volcanoes under the oceans. About 500 of these have erupted in the past 100 years. Many of these are located around the Pacific Ocean, in what is known as a Ring of Fire. In the US, volcanoes along the west coast and in Alaska, Aleutian volcanic chain, are part of the Ring of Fire, while Yellowstone and Hawaiian volcanoes form over a hot spot. What are the main types of volcanoes? First, cinder cone. Cinder cones are the simplest type of volcano. They are made of small pieces of solid lava called cinder and are erupted from a vent. The ground shakes as magma rises from within the earth. Then a powerful blast throws molten rocks, ash and the gas into the air. The rocks cool quickly in the air and fall to the earth to break into small pieces of bubbly cinder that pile up around the vent. They accumulate as a small cinder cone that can be as high as 1,000 feet above the surrounding ground. If the wind is blowing during the eruption, cinder is carrying downwind before it's deposited into an oval shape. Eruptions that form cinder cones also feed lava flows that spreads outward from the eruptive vent. When you climb a cinder cone, you can usually find the bowl-shaped crater marking the location of the vent. If eruptions of cinder and lava flows happen repeatedly from the same vent, The overlapping layers can form a composite volcano, stratovolcano. When looking at the map, you will find that thousands of cinder cones exist in western North America and in other volcanic areas of the world. Composite volcano. Some of the Earth's grandest mountains are composite volcanoes, sometimes called stratovolcanoes. They are usually tall with steep even sides and are made out of repeating layers of lava flows, volcanic ash, cinders, blocks, and volcanic bombs. Some composite volcanoes rise over 800 feet above their surroundings, but they reach much higher elevations when compared to the level of the sea, called above sea level. Ojos del Salado in Chile is the tallest composite volcano on Earth with a summit elevation, height above the sea, of 22,615 feet. The tallest in the US is Mountain Rainier in the Washington state with a summit elevation of 14,410 feet. Some of the most famous and beautiful mountains in the world are composite volcanoes, including Mountain Fuji in Japan, Mountain Cotopaxi in Ecuador, Mountain Shasta in California, Mount Hood in Oregon, and Mount St. Helena's in Washington. Number 2. Shield Volcano. Shield volcanoes are built almost entirely of fluid lava flows. Lava pours out of vents in all directions, either from the summit, top, and along 2 or 3 rift zones, fractures, that radiate out from the summit like spokes on a bicycle wheel. As lava flows overlap one another, they construct a broad, gently sloping dome shape that from far away appears similar to a vortex shield. Shield volcanoes build up slowly by the growth of thousands of lava flows that spread widely over great distances and then cool as thin sheets. On Earth, some of the most massive volcanoes are shield volcanoes. In Northern California and Oregon, many shield volcanoes are up to 3 or 4 miles wide and as tall as 1,500 and 2,000 feet. The Hawaiian Islands are made of chain of shield volcanoes including Kilauea and the world's largest active volcano, Mauna Loa. Looking at pictures of volcanoes, you can usually identify them by shape as being a shield volcano or stratovolcano. Number 3. Lava Dome. Lava domes are technically lava flows, but they contain lava that is too thick to flow away from the vent. Lava squeezes out of the vent and accumulates as a giant pile over and around the vent. Some domes form pointy spines, while others appear as a giant muffin, as opening flower petals, or as steep-sided stubby flows or tones. Lava domes often grow within craters or upon the flanks of large steep-sided composite volcanoes. Lava domes can be dangerous. They grow largely by expansion from within. As fresh magma fills the inside, the cooler and harder outer surface shatters and spills the hot rock and gases down the mountainside. The circle-shaped Novarupta dome that formed during the 1912 eruption at Katmai Volcano, Alaska, measures 800 feet across and 200 feet high. This dome was one of the last squirts of lava to emerge during a much larger and long-term eruption. The eruption at Katmai was the largest and most violent eruption ever to occur within the United States.